Welcome to episode 9 of the Training Partners Podcast with me, Chris Yandle, and the best host, Sean Rigsby.
It's good to be back.
Glad to have you back.
Thank you for that outstanding generic intro.
Yeah, there's no need to make a spectacle about it.
Yeah?
This is all serious. We're here to get down to
very
business.
serious stuff.
No jokes.
All right. Let's keep it straight.
Let's keep it straight. Yeah, why you gotta look me in the eye like that? Make me laugh.
You guys have a good time last week without me?
We had a great time. I think Taylor is a great co-host. I think she would do great on a podcast all the time.
All the time?
All the time.
If she made herself available and...
Yeah, I mean, she works, as we discussed, she works a full-time job.
Oh, I guess, we're recording this before that one's out, so I haven't got to listen to it yet.
It's a great episode. I think it's a great episode as long as it doesn't accidentally get deleted.
Yeah, as long as we don't have to fire young Harv
for
losing it. That'd be fantastic. All right. Well, episode 9.
What are we talking about?
We're one away.
And then we get to retire?
From not having to do this ever again. No. So we have a follow-up from the last episode that I was on, which was about our Hyrox fitness test. So I thought it'd be fun to go through. We had Frank. Shout out to you, Frank.
Shout out Frank the Tank.
Gave us a comment. So thank you again for everybody who does listen and gives us feedback or please stay engaged with it and give us stuff.
What if we find out we're just talking to nobody? To the point where it's 0 listeners.
That's just, you and Kane already know what that feels like.
Our moms never
your mom's listen, we're diehards.
They were diehards. Sure. Let's go.
Okay. Let's go. Training Partners Podcast for the moms. All right. But Frank gave us a comment on the last one when we talked about test fitness, but the biggest thing Frank brought up was that Hyrox shouldn't be in the Olympics because it's not a sport. He says it's not an Olympic sport, not any more than breakdancing was. We all know how that went. And if it's a good, accessible event, I think we talked about that. It's accessibility for people looking to challenge themselves or for decent athletes that weren't good enough to hack it at another sport. Jeez, Frank. Yes, cool. If you took, and this is Frank's claim, which we'll talk about, if you took an actual 10-kilometer track Olympian So 10 kilometer, what would that be?
10K?
That's a 10K. I'm trying to think of the mile equivalent. I'm sorry.
6.5.
6.5 miles. Okay, so a 10K, or a decathlete, so they actually do different events, drop them in the Hyrox, they'd wipe the floor with them. Oof. What do you think about what Frank has to say?
Well, if you know Frank, he is very opinionated and strong belief in his opinions, and that's a good thing. But I think he might be incorrect specifically about the 10K athlete.
Okay.
So I looked up the stats, and now if you just look at the running pace, it is absurd. So the world record, they are running at average 2:38 1K.
Okay.
So every kilometer is taking 2 minutes and 38 seconds. The world record Hyrox was done averaging run time of 3:38.
Okay, but the argument is that they have stations in between.
They have stations in between.
But they're running about a minute
per kilometer faster.
Faster. They're doing 10 of them.
So
I guess if they were only doing 8.
8. So that's on baseline. Okay, they're 8 minutes faster. If you look at just the run, ignore everything else.
That's a little hard because, as we've seen, especially as we know from your heart rate data, the station, the run's almost like the recovery.
That's exactly what it is.
A little bit. And the stations are where your heart rate gets jacked up.
Yep.
And you just try to hold on. You try to run fast enough to where you're not dying, right? Yeah. But enough to where your heart's not going to explode before you get to the next station.
What you work on is your threshold pace, which is the pace that you're able to run where you're still actively recovering instead of becoming less recovered.
God, that's uncomfortable.
It is very uncomfortable. Yeah. And so I also looked at the stats of the size of these humans. So
okay.
These are specifically males, just because they had slightly faster times. That's what happens when you look up world records. But the man is Hunter McIntyre. He weighs around 195, 205 pounds, depending on where he's at.
Okay.
So let's call it 200 pounds. So he's able to move the weights within the stations a little bit better. He's probably going to have a higher output on the ergs as well. But then the world record holder for the 10K, his weight is 135 pounds. So he is 70 pounds lighter. So obviously he's going to move a lot faster. That'll probably give him an advantage on the burpees as well.
Yeah.
But I think every other station, he is going to be at a significant disadvantage.
My biggest issue with that claim on the 10K athletes is that I've seen a lot of runners squat, or not, to be clear, not squat, and have incredible difficulty getting to parallel, let alone below parallel.
Yeah.
So we're basically looking like we dunk on high rockers a lot, like we have on the wall ball, but like if really we should be dunking on runners.
Yeah.
And squatting. Like that's the actual problem.
Yeah, I think that is like, as the popularity as a hybrid athlete is growing, I think it's getting better. But I do think a specialist like this is not going to succeed, especially when you're talking about the pro division where the weights are heavier. A 130-pound man trying to push a 440-pound sled is not going to be easy.
Yeah, that's going to be they're probably going to time out there.
Yeah,
like it'll be very difficult to move. They are getting a ton of no reps. I don't think they really train grip. So like, I didn't think that the farmer's carry is a strength movement, but you do need a minimum amount of grip strength. Like you're going to be dropping that thing left and right. So yeah, I guess with their heart rate being spiked, are they able to hold, let's say like a 3-minute pace per kilometer
faster,
and not take so much more time on the stations compared to a high roxer?
I would love to watch.
I think it'd be very interesting. I do think it'd be close. I think they would do really, really well. These are fit people, to be clear. But I don't think they wipe the floor.
No. What about the decathlete?
That I think would be even more competitive because they do have like elite energy system development because they have to do some of the events. I'm sorry, I don't remember the 10.
I was going to ask you to see if you could name them.
I cannot. But there are like, I would say they're a little bit more of like a power skill biased athlete for sure.
There are some throws involved, right?
Yeah, there are throws. If I remember right, there's jumps, there's hurdles. There is an endurance component to it. So like they're pretty limited. I don't think that they definitely don't do an event that would be as long as a high rocks. Yeah. So that would actually hurt them a little bit. But their training probably keeps them fit enough to do it. Where they're going to succeed, they're usually bigger. By and large, I think they would struggle less with the strength pieces. I don't think there would be a skill deficit on like a farmer's carry. I don't think burpees would be hard for them. So I guess it would come back actually to, all right, we kind of took like these elite runners. It's like, are they skilled enough at running, which I think they are. They're very skilled at it. But are they skilled at what you just talked about, that threshold, like training at that threshold for that long of a period of time?
Yeah.
That part, I don't know.
Nah. It'd be very fun to watch. I think you should take like one of each. Like,
it'd be great. 3
men, 3 women, like one for like the best 10K or the best decathlete and the best high roxer, and just see what happens.
I think it'd be amazing. They did, there was something like this. I think it was in Germany. They took a bodybuilder, a strongman, a powerlifter, and a weightlifter, and they gave them a squat test. And I don't remember what it was based on. It was either like a percentage of body weight or percentage of their known max. And they did some sort of reps test.
That'd be fun.
With it. And the bodybuilder actually got pretty far.
Yeah.
But they just weren't relatively strong. I think the powerlifter ended up winning overall, actually.
They were pretty strong.
They just train in type 1 fibers, and you can just maintain stuff for a longer period of time. But I think it'd be a really fun race. Make it happen.
Yeah. Figure out. So what if we, to his point, that it should not be an Olympic sport, if they did it, that's maybe a place we could watch it. But do you think it falls in line with breakdancing, which I think 99% of people agree that was silly to have that in the Olympics? Or do you think like this is slightly more legitimate because it's not just watching people flop around on the ground?
I don't know. Like, what does an Olympic sport? I mean, we have rhythmic gymnastics is an Olympic sport, which is kind of like breakdancing.
Yeah,
if I'm being honest. What's the one? The not water polo.
Where they're dancing in the water.
Like artistic water.
Yeah, synchronized swimming.
Synchronized swimming.
There it is.
Okay, is that a sport?
So back to what I think a sport is. The less a judge is involved, the more of a sport it is.
Yeah, we already have very judged events in there.
But I also feel like the Olympic sports, like the historical ones that have been around forever, those that you don't watch except for the Olympics, there's something fun about that. New ones aren't as fun to watch because like, what are we doing? Why are we adding this new sport? Like baseball, I'm not excited for baseball in Olympics, I'm being honest. I'd rather watch like curling because that's something I never ever watch, but it's fun to watch once every 4 years.
Synchronized diving?
That's fun.
That's fun?
I enjoy it.
Is it a sport?
See,
is it more of a, I guess my argument here is, are those more of a sport than high rocks is? And like, no. no. They're like,
Yeah.
They're like, don't get me wrong, diving is very difficult. Synchronized swimming's probably really difficult. Getting it not just the timing, but honestly having the body control to if just take you doing it by yourself, doing the things that they have to do to do a performance for an extended period of time. Actually, probably physically demanding, and then syncing that up with a bunch of people, super difficult. So I'm not saying that they're not athletic, but
we're not saying it's not easy.
But yeah, I don't know that this isn't a sport like qualifies.
Yeah.
Sorry, Frank. I don't think that I think they're already non-sports
for sure
in the Olympics.
Yeah.
And we're gonna keep doing that.
But I do agree. I'm not a huge fan of adding new ones. I don't know if I'm a purist when it comes to the Olympics, but cause I couldn't even tell you what the original ones are or which ones have only been added 20 years ago. But it feels like the ones that I only watch during the Olympics, that's fun, unique. Because it's only 4 years. It makes it pretty cool to only watch it then.
I almost have the opposite, I guess, because I'm an Olympic sport fan. Right now, track is feeling pretty big. I think they're riding the momentum of Paris really well. There's been more interest. Nationals week just happened for track and field. There's more interest in that. I think there's going to be, we'll see what actually happens. I think there will be more people watching the Tokyo World Championships for track than ever before. Yeah, and could you have characters, I don't know if that's the right word to use, but Noah Lyles is so entertaining. Right. I love how cocky he is amazing. That helps. And he backs it up too. He is a phenomenal athlete, and people are going to hate him because of who he is, but he is so fun to watch. Yeah, so I would like more interest in, I'm not watching synchronized swimming any other time, but in other Olympic sports, the ones that I would like to see more wrestling in everyday life, more track and field in everyday life, more weightlifting, of course. So your end goal, you care about as long as the Olympics are being popular, you don't care if it's new sports, old sports, as long as weightlifting's involved, as long as they're still growing. I guess those legacy sports, the ones that I believe are the point of track is to find the fastest human or to find the human who can throw the farthest, more or less, or jump the farthest. Those are really pure. The point of weightlifting is to find the strongest human, even though weightlifting probably doesn't even do that, right? Technically, compared to a strongman test. The point of wrestling and boxing is to find the biggest badass, right? The best fighter, right? The best fighter on the planet. I really like those. I like those ideas, and I like those ideas in everyday sporting life, other than the Olympics. I care, but this is just me. Obviously, not everybody else. I don't give a fuck about college football at all, but everybody's excited that college football is almost back. That means nothing to me. It really doesn't. I guess maybe I didn't go to a big school. I think it's more of an extension of people's personality, our identity. For sure. We went to the school and our school's better than yours and all that kind of thing. And that's fine. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. As someone who didn't do the big school either, I definitely don't understand this is life. Now it's with NIL and the transfer portal, you have those kids for 1 year and then you're so attached and you're willing to act a fool over that. I don't understand. For me, it's amateur. So the NCAA system for track and wrestling is basically the Olympics. That's the highest caliber. College football is amateur football. I'm sorry. It's not anymore because it's literally paid. But it's the farm system. In recent history, who's the greatest college quarterback of all time? How far back are we going? The last 25 years-ish. I mean, it's probably true all time, but Tim Tebow. How was he as an NFL player? He made it to the league? Exactly. That's my point. He won one playoff game. Completely different game, completely different sport. Ended up getting exposed because his qualities as a quarterback weren't up to actual professional grade level. And that's how I feel when I watch a football, Jadeveon Clowney, when I was watching him when he was here at SC, I was there's this one man and a bunch of boys out there. Yeah. Now, not talking down to all you guys who do make it into D1 football. Y'all are real warriors. You're more of a man than I am. Yeah. But when we're talking about sports, we all want to watch the best. And I'm sorry, the best are in that other league, the best of the best. Correct. And so that's what I'm interested in watching. I'm not interested in watching minor league football. Yeah. Yeah. That's back to the Olympics. That's a great reason why for basketball, letting pros play in the basketball, because you don't want to watch the Olympics basketball team when it's not the best of the best. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Well, Olympic hockey's different though.
Is it the same way? Only college kids can play?
No. Olympic hockey, the pros play.
Yeah, that's the way it should be. But basketball it used to be pros couldn't play for a little while.
Oh, I mean, we had those rules like amateur athletic rules forever. I mean, well, LeBron plays now.
Yeah, that's the way it should be.
All that kind of stuff. So that's how it should be.
Yeah, I
absolutely.
agree.
But
We want to see the best.
Olympic hockey is where it's at. Like that's actually the best hockey there is, for sure. Anyway, we went on a huge.
But yeah, thanks, Frank.
Olympic
That was a
tangent.
good comment. It got us going. Your next note. I don't even want to say it. I was going to say it and let you go. Trump Olympics.
Yeah. There's two recent things in the news. The president has announced that he will personally oversee the execution of the Olympics, just like he personally oversaw the Taj Mahal Hotel and Casino.
Oh, have you been there recently?
No.
How's it doing?
Oh, it had 4 bankruptcies during his personal overseeing.
4?
4, yeah.
That's pretty
I think
good.
there were 5 total, but he had 4 while he was managing it. So,
Is that a record?
I don't know. I don't know if there's a casino bankruptcy record website. I haven't looked at it. My understanding is that casinos. Actually, I looked into why it failed. Would you like to know why?
I would love to know what I feel.
Among many other reasons, one of the main ones is they didn't comply with anti-money laundering rules. So they're basically taking shortcuts on the steps that you need to register with like the federal governor, like making sure you're not laundering money.
Yep.
They misrepresented and like defrauded banks, kind of like he did for his real estate holdings that he actually got convicted of. Like misrepresented the money that was bringing it in and like doing that. And then the third big one was actually not paying basically like contractors, employees, things like that, as happens a lot on Trump projects and contracts.
Nice.
So,
Cool.
so all of that will be managing the Olympics.
Hell yeah.
So that's a good thing.
That's a good.
What do you think? How do you think the Olympics are going to go?
I hope they go well.
I really hope they do too.
Like when's the last was Atlanta the last time they're in the U.S. for summer?
For Summer Olympics, yeah.
So like it's been 28 years. Is that math right? Because that was 96.
It'll be 32 years.
32 years. I was off
Yeah.
on one. So 32 years since we've had Summer Olympics. I want them to go really well.
Me
I
too.
want it to be fun. I want it to be entertaining. I want to showcase how great this country can be. But I'm nervous that is what is forcing itself in charge because of maybe arrogancy or being a narcissist.
Yeah, I think it's just a like a public statement. Like he is now the chair of the Kennedy Center and like personally runs that. But like we're honestly too busy golfing and doing whatever other shit and tweeting to do anything about it. So I think this is more of like a I'm in charge, and when it goes well, like I'll take all the credit sort of thing.
But when it doesn't go well,
Yeah.
he's like, it's just a name.
And I think like he has 2 kind of pet projects. One is like it looks like they're going to try to institute, which I don't think they can do at the moment. Like, so I really hope all this like blows over, gets resolved, and we just have a good Olympics. But one is biological sex testing. It's
Yeah, I
to keep
saw that.
like trans athletes out of whatever side of sport. And then the other one is, have you seen that it's going to cost visitors to the United States $250 to get here? Like a new visa just to visit the U.S.
Is this a special visa for the Olympics?
No, this is just everybody regularly. But
Okay.
in addition to that, for the Olympics, there's going to be for certain countries. So like your Venezuela's or something like that, it could be in the thousands of dollars per athlete to come and compete, which makes it really, really difficult for an event that depends on world participation to occur.
That sucks because one of the cool things about the Olympics is seeing the smaller countries or the countries that don't have as much funding be able to put a team or an athlete on that stage. I think there's even been a movie about it, particularly bobsledding. And like those
Cool runnings.
Those are cool stories.
Those are cool stories.
Those are fun to see. So like limiting those from happening, I don't think is a great thing.
No, probably not. I mean, the Olympics here and there can seem kind of like a grift, and this is just like a unique grift add-on, I suppose.
Yeah.
We'll see how it gets resolved, but I really hope it doesn't like ruin it. I hope that countries are, the Olympics talks about equal opportunity. Like we win it in like why hierarchies, like accessibility, equal opportunity, the spirit of Olympism. There's like an actual inclusivity policy, which is going to sound great to that section of people, I guess. But that inclusivity is like representation from all over the world. So making sure that, there is an African country represented in a sport, an Oceania country represented in the sport and throughout. So like we do have the best of the best, but we also want an opportunity to exist in every region of the world. And so when you put these kind of restrictions on accessibility to the Olympics, it kind of is contrary to the spirit of that.
And I think it's one of those things I think we all know and understand that the Olympics are pretty corrupt, but there is some good side effects that come out of it. So it's almost like we ignore the badness to accept the goodness.
Yeah. So maybe this is nothing new.
Yeah.
And now it's just out in the open. I don't know.
The bluntness of it seems worse, and that there's potential that it might reduce some of the goodness that happens.
Yeah. I can't recall a time where, a country was essentially going to be held hostage for like tens of thousands of dollars per athlete,
right?
To access.
I mean, even like with what's going on with Russia, like their athletes have still been able to compete, just not under the flag.
Yeah, unattached. Which who knows? Maybe they'll get. I don't know what their status is.
They seem friendly. Now they're not friends anymore.
We'll look into that later. The other bit of news that's relevant to our last episode is the presidential fitness test is back.
Yes.
By executive order. If anyone of our generation who grew up did the presidential fitness test and is familiar with it, we're going to review that and talk about whether it's a good test of fitness or not. So the original the President's Council on Youth Fitness was started by President Eisenhower, who wanted to make sure we had a fit citizenry. He's living in that like post World War II era where like, man, we could have war at any time and we need a citizenry that's fit and able to be soldiers. So it was much more about youth, going into schools and meeting certain benchmarks. But then President Kennedy instituted the presidential fitness tests that we're basically familiar with and that we went through. So you want to talk about those events?
Yes, because I don't actually remember them. I remember doing them, but I didn't have them memorized off the top of my head. But we have the 1 mile run.
Okay.
We have pull-ups, push-ups, curl-ups, the sit and reach, and the shuttle run.
I don't remember the shuttle run.
I don't remember the shuttle run or the curl-ups. Those are the two that I didn't remember.
Curl-ups I remember.
Is that where you had your foot under the thing?
It's basically like it was like a crunch, more or less. Yeah, and you could anchor a foot or something like that.
And the sit.
No, the foot under thing is a sit and reach.
That's the one I'm still traumatized because I could never touch my toes.
Oh, you failed.
I failed the sit and reach. I was so bad at the sit and reach. I don't know why.
Man, well, I looked all of them up because I couldn't remember the shuttle. I don't remember doing that part.
No, I definitely don't.
I remember. So it turns out the practitioner can decide whether you do pull-ups or push-ups.
Okay.
I always had both, in mind. So maybe when I was doing it or we were doing it, like they were like, screw the shuttle run. We're just going to make them do pull-ups and push-ups sort of thing. So that's what I remember. I remember mile run, pull-up, push-up, curl up and sit and reach. Don't remember the shuttle run, but I looked up the standard. So there's like a minimum. Basically, they want you to hit 50 percentile because if you're in 50 percentile, you're like dead on average.
You're fine. Yeah.
Okay, so that's good. So I guess if everybody's doing that, that's fine. But to get like a certificate that says like, I'm fit enough, you had to hit the 85th percentile or above, and they had standards for that. So I went ahead and looked up the standards. So these are for a 15-year-old. The PFT was done, if I remember right, it was like every other year starting in 5th grade, something like that. So it was like if you were like 11, 13, 15, and I think 17.
Yep.
I don't remember exactly.
I don't remember doing it in high school. I remember doing it in middle school.
I think you're supposed to do it one last time in high school, but I don't know.
I probably skipped that class.
Anyway, these are the standards for a 15-year-old, male and female respectively, in these events. The first one is a 620 mile for 15-year-old males and an 808 mile for 15-year-old females. So, resident runner in chief. How do we feel about that?
I just PR'd my 1 mile run at 6:17. So that seems insanely fast.
Well, you want to get special recognition from the president or not?
I mean, I do. I definitely I'm 3 seconds ahead of the pace. I'm good. I'm getting it.
Yeah. Well, the problem is once you're 17, it goes down to 6:06.
I'm out.
So you've got a new goal now. You already wanted to run a sub 6 mile, so maybe it's just extra.
It's extra incentive to do it.
Yeah.
For a 15-year-old, I think that's achievable.
I think it's achievable. I feel like I don't know. I was never a good mile runner, so like I'm a 50th percentile guy in the run. So that's that. But that seems out there. I'm not gonna lie.
It seems pretty aggressive.
What about Young Harv? What do you think about a 8:08 mile when you were 15? You're the only woman in the room, so
that's a big drop off.
It's 2 minutes a lap.
I just ran an 8:20 mile.
You ran an 8:20?
What's your mile time, dog?
Dog, like 7:58.
8:19. 8:19.
I'm playing volleyball, so I probably ran.
Yeah, you'd be good. Yeah.
Okay.
But that's pretty fast, I would say.
Okay.
All right, maybe we're out of touch, man. I don't know. Maybe people are running sub sixes left and right.
That's
pretty easily.
That is the thing. Is like I'm by no means I'm a slightly above average runner.
Yeah, that's true. Like I'm not dunking on you.
No,
like,
that's fine. Yeah.
Like you've had to work hard.
Yeah.
You've had to work hard at this skill.
Yeah.
Like I'm not a good runner at all.
Yeah.
You're an above average runner.
And this is a decent size pool size. There was 12 of us at Track Run Club last night.
Okay.
And like we had some faster intervals, and I was basically middle of the pack the whole time.
Okay.
So like I'd say I'm slightly, but within a group of runners.
So we're
above
talking
average.
85th percent, but in a group of runners, so you're meeting it, you're hitting it. So
Yeah.
I mean, I guess this is achieving the goal that like we want. You want to be top 15%. That is the other way you can look at this.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you're a top 15% runner? And that's probably true.
Yeah, like age group. Can I narrow it down?
Sure,
to age
that's
group?
fine,
I
'cause
don't
this
know. I feel like you get faster as you get older.
This
with
is
some
an age
people.
group number, so
I'm gonna say yeah.
okay.
I'm top 15.
So that one's fine. Pull-ups is 11 for males and 2 for females. I remember a lot of times you could females got to sub with just kind of like a hang from bar.
Yeah, doing hangs.
Yeah, that was really, really common. So I think 2 is to do 85th percentile.
Right, that's great.
And then down from that, like it's probably, 1 and then, this much time.
Yep.
Hangs.
I almost feel like as a girl, just doing a pull-up is great. Because like typically they lack a little bit of upper body strength.
For a 15-year-old female, like honestly, if you're doing a pull-up, I think
That's great.
you're doing great.
Yeah.
Maybe 2. I think 2 probably is. All right, top 15%.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
That's probably
I
right.
think
And
that's
then for a male, I think you should absolutely be doing 10 if you're top 15%.
Yep.
And I think that's reasonable. I remember I was definitely somebody who would have been better at chin-ups,
yeah.
than pull-ups. And it wasn't like I remember one year, like it stood out in my brain. I was like, I did it pull-ups because that's what we were doing, and pull-ups were harder.
Yeah.
And I don't remember what I did, but I didn't do this. Obviously, I didn't do very well. And then people like immediately after were just banging out chin-ups.
Yeah,
with really poor, like looking back, not going all the way down
For sure.
and everything. But they're smoking the test because they're doing that. And I was like, no one told me we could do chin-ups. Like,
Bullshit. Can I retry? That's also like you have to keep that in consideration because you're having PE teachers. No knock on PE teachers, but they're not sitting there like no repping 15-year-old. Just like, all right, they tried. Like those count. Like,
they're really
enough.
not, and that actually brings me to the next one. So the push-up is
insane.
but here they're calling it a right angle push-up. So really, it's just
so we're not going chest to deck.
they're not going chest to deck.
Okay.
So for that, this is super reasonable.
Yeah,
in my
that's
opinion,
true.
this is like the easiest one if we're doing just.
I could do 100 of those right now.
Yeah, it's 42 push-ups for males, 21 for females, of just getting to 90 degrees
Yeah,
in
I
your
think
elbow.
that's reasonable.
Which one is really difficult to judge and stupid, and we shouldn't use it.
Mm-hmm.
But this was really commonplace in the military PFTs at the time,
Right.
And I think still is. I don't know about the other services. I know it is the standard in the Air Force. They use that because I was looking at the push-up standards. We were helping some people once, and I'm like, what do you mean you don't have to touch the ground? Like,
Right. Seems easier to judge as well to just touch the ground.
Seems like the easiest way. And I know we all have different arm lengths.
Yeah.
But like, suck it. Like, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, someone with long arms.
I'm really slow. So like, you are gonna run faster than me because you have longer legs. So now I'm coming up on the push-up, baby.
Push-ups where you get it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would rather have the long arms.
So
Be able to
that's
run fast.
what right angle push-ups for a female. That's 1 every 3 seconds for a minute. And this is in a minute. You have to do this.
Do you think that's more because like the test within the military is more about like, hey, are you mentally tough, able to just keep going? When you're going just to 90, you can't take that break on the bottom. We just want to see you just stay straight moving with these little.
I think they
push-ups.
thought it was good standardization.
Okay.
But yeah, like all those tests are all about your ability, like your mental toughness for sure. I think you have
Which
something
is
there.
so important.
Almost all the, because like who are you when you're tired?
Yeah.
We need you to still be good at your job when you're tired. Like it's critical to the job. Curl ups, I don't really remember the standards. If I remember right, this was like basically barely a crunch. Like little. I think the requirement was your shoulder blades have to be off the ground, and like that was basically it.
Yeah.
So it's 57 and 48.
Basically 1 a second.
Basically 1 a second for a minute, and just be able, so like holding up, abdominal endurance.
That's doable.
That's very doable.
Yep.
These all seem like only the running one. Maybe we're just bad runners, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay, sit and reach is the first one where the standards for females are greater than the males.
Mm-hmm.
It's 5 inches on a sit and reach for males, and then 8 inches for females.
Did you pass this?
I was exceptional at this.
Really?
Yeah.
Why was that so bad?
I don't know.
Like you were,
and I have short arms, so like if you have short arms, you should suck. But I
have long arms and sucked.
I have always had pretty I guess they kind of stand like when you're doing the box, like you get your feet wherever it is. So that's really all. But no, I had exceptional flexibility.
Is that why you were a good weightlifter?
I mean, I didn't have all the kinds of flexibility, but probably helped. I think playing hockey, being a goalie, actually, like you have to be very flexible. So I guess this was probably around the time I was playing hockey at this point, and my flexibility, like I could actually do the splits at that time.
Yeah,
and everything.
I still remember nightmares of just like sitting on that box, just knowing like I'm going to try to reach for this, and I'm trying so hard and I'm just not moving at all. So frustrating.
So one of the writers of the New York Times, when this news got announced, he did it.
Okay,
and he did it kind of comically. Like he's clearly not in really good shape. Like actually,
we should put everyone through this.
He did it, and he did all of these tests that we've talked about so far.
Yeah.
And this is the only one that he outright failed. Yeah.
I think the older you get, the harder that one gets.
Because he sits at a desk. He's like, I'm a writer, like a journalist. I sit at a desk.
Yep.
I'm very inflexible, and he failed it. But he was able to do. Now he wasn't doing 85th percentile. He was doing whatever the minimum standards
Just trying
were.
to beat that.
Yeah. So he was meeting all those standards,
Right.
and he's a journalist who doesn't really work out.
Right.
So they're not that difficult.
We should be able to do that.
The last one is that shuttle run. I had, like I said, I didn't do this one. I had to look it up. I think the original test, what it sounds like, it's 10 yards. So you sprint 10 yards, and they said it was like a log. It could be any object, but it'd be like
specifically a log.
But specifically at the time, probably when this created, it was like a small piece of wood.
Yep.
Okay. So you would sprint. You would grab the object and you would return it back to your start line.
Okay.
And then you would sprint back again and grab a second object and come back. So it's basically 10 and back twice.
So it's not like 10 back.
Or 10 back, 10 back. Yeah.
Okay.
So that's what, 40 total? With like
40
cuts?
total yards.
85th percentile is 9 seconds, which I think is pretty, definitely doable, but
Yeah.
you're moving for sure.
I think I could get that one done.
And then 10 seconds for females. So this is the closest one.
Yeah. We should test that one.
That one sounds fun.
That one does sound a lot of fun.
Yeah.
We'll get the lasers out and test it.
And that makes it. It's 40. Like you do have a deceleration there, and you got to cut. But like most of us can sprint 100 in. I'll be generous. Like sub 15. Like you can do that if you're.
I'd agree.
Like that should be doable. So
In a straight line.
We're talking about 40 here. Mm-hmm. There's obviously start and stop component, but yeah. So this should be doable.
It should be doable. I do like in over all of these. I do like. Because I feel like kids, you're more competitive. I feel like you grow out of being competitive. Some people do. But I think as a kid, for the most part, you're somewhat competitive. And this like encourages you to try to be a more fit individual, even if it's not the goal is to be more fit.
Well, Chris, it's funny you say that. So why did this test go away?
Why did this test go away? I actually do not know.
Because the Democrats and Obama did away with it in his second term.
Okay.
And they instituted something called the Presidential Youth Fitness Program.
Okay.
And so
I love that I'm reading this for the first time and see that the word competitive is on there.
well, that's just comparative, but it was
my bad.
But it was exactly what you're saying is that they felt there's some of the things I actually really like about it.
Okay.
One was they viewed fitness as more holistic. So it wasn't just like you're good at these tests. It was, are you living a healthy lifestyle? Are you, do you have mental health? Like that was a part of it. And then Michelle was a big part of this was nutrition.
Yes.
Like if I don't remember, you remember at the time, the garden at the White House was like full
Rest
of
in peace to that
healthy
garden.
foods. And now it's been paved over and destroyed.
Yep.
So that was a huge part of it. It's like, it was the first time they really stressed actually nutrition in it, which like with childhood obesity numbers, you could see why they would want to do that. And then they said that, comparing yourself to others, so that competitive piece you were just talking about, was damaging to youth's mental health.
I can see that.
I can see that, but fuck that.
I do. Yeah. I feel like we live in a society where people don't know how to not be the best.
Oh man, you're really teeing me up here for the thing I want to talk about the most. So you're doing all the right things.
Okay, good. I think we see people who have gone through that, and then when they find out that they're not good at something, instead of trying to improve, they either give up. Yeah, or give up.
No, I think we're like, there are parts I really liked about it. Like I said, fitness and health is a holistic puzzle.
I do definitely. I agree with that.
It is a lifestyle piece. It is not just, I can run a 606 mile, which is what you should do. Like, good, okay, that means you're good at running.
Yep.
Do you only eat fast food? Do you smoke? Like all these other lifestyle factors. So I'm very about that. Mm-hmm. But like backing away from you're always going to have comparisons in life.
Yeah.
You're always going to have some semblance of competition in society, whether you like it or not. You could be competing to get into a school. You could be competing to get a job. Yep. Like the best jobs are very competitive, incredibly competitive. Yep. Like how many people want to work at like a Google or a Facebook, and there are thousands of people applying for one position and role. So I think we do a disservice in guiding people away from what they're going to face in life by saying unfortunately, these are standards. We're just giving you this information and trying to equip you and prepare you with it. And we're not saying that you're less than, but like, this is where it's at and you can do something about it or not. And all of us are not going to be, maybe amazing runners or amazing at pull-ups, but you can take a good look in the mirror and try to do something about it. So
I think that's one of the best things about sports is like the lessons you learn from it.
Yeah.
And so removing that competitiveness is not ideal in my opinion, because to your point, you learn how to be prepared for whether it's a job interview or an interview to get into a school, or if it is actually a competitive sport, you learn those skills. And then when you don't succeed, you learn how to get better at those things and rebound from it and how to not be a sore loser.
Yeah, I think it's really important. So, so in instituting that change, the test was no longer mandatory. So it hasn't been apparently in people's lives. Harley, did you have to do this stuff?
Really?
Fucking bunch of shit. Yeah. We're gonna have to cut that part out, but whatever. So Harley didn't have to grow up with these tests, and but came from.
I'm kidding.
No, but came from a family where like very very competitive.
Yes.
Very athletic. Harley has told me stories like during COVID they were literally doing like team family yoke walks among other things and everything. So like that's great.
Yeah.
So she didn't need like this publicly mandated thing to challenge her, whereas a lot of people are going to need that. So I think it's fine to have it like institutionalized. I think it's actually a good thing.
I agree.
Even if the tests, like, are there better tests? Probably.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. We didn't even talk about that part, but I agree that this is a fine test, but not great.
Yeah, I think, you've got a basic, I don't even want to know what I want to call it endurance, because I don't know that running a mile is an endurance test.
That's definitely not an endurance run.
You want to just call it like a metabolic test?
Yeah.
Yeah. So a metabolic test, upper body capacity tests, abdominal test, flexibility test. Okay.
It's actually not bad. Like it's for a youth, that's perfectly fine.
And remember that you have to institute these at scale. And that's the biggest issue is that you if you're doing this in a school, depending on so my graduating class had 800 people, my high school graduating class. Okay. So that's 800 students that at some point had to cycle through this multiple times, right?
Yeah.
And there are bigger and smaller versions of that. But what this seems to do, another reason I want to talk about, and you were kind of teeing up for, is this is a return to this comparative part. So like the big part about it, the way it's been sold, they've actually removed, because I didn't know much about the presidential youth fitness program under the Obama administration. I was trying to find, okay, even though it wasn't mandatory, there were still like tests and guidelines and everything. And I wanted to look up the lifestyle components, like how did they educate people on nutrition, all the stuff. All of those have been removed, like, and those resources no longer exist.
Nice.
So I couldn't find any information. It's probably archived somewhere,
Right,
but I couldn't find it on like a normal search where it once was. They seem to be removing that holistic nutrition part and going more, the words that they're stressing are like sports and competition.
Okay.
Because the president is a big fan of sports.
So they're going hard into
he goes to a lot of sporting events, and they're kind of like trying to go hard that other way. And so this is a return to that competition comparative. This is known as social Darwinism. So that is, which is kind of comical, applying the idea that the survival of the fittest is what determines pretty much everything. So in this, it's literally the survival of the fittest people, and like determining that hierarchy and creating these standards. But it all comes from Darwin's theory of evolution, which a lot of people claim doesn't exist. But then it gets applied to politics, governance, things like that. Social Darwinism took off in like the late 19th century and is actually responsible for a lot of the things that happened in the early 20th century.
Like what?
Well, it was justification for like the spread of colonialism and imperialism. It was justification for implementing a pure capitalist laissez-faire kind of economy, because like the fittest company will survive, and we shouldn't have any restrictions or regulations because we're just going to go with the fittest. It was justification for like people who look a certain way, instituting their power and superiority over another people because those are the fittest people at that time based on their situation. And it basically is the justification for creating the nationalist socialist ideology, which if our listeners don't know what that is, that's the Nazi party. And so we're returning to social Darwinism in our fitness program. As we just talked about, I think competition is good.
Yes.
But that seems to be that philosophy underpinning why we're doing it. Like, that's the reason for it.
Right.
Is that only the strongest matter, I guess.
Yeah, that seems to be, we're not supposed to be too political here, but that seems to be a trend of like only the rich matter.
Yep.
And those are the people. So I am a big proponent of people that are struggling. I love things that our society does to help those people out. So I think that is great. So getting rid of those resources I have not been a fan of, in my personal opinion. So continue making that the reasoning behind putting this fitness test back in. I don't think that's a great reason for it.
Yep. Side question: how many pro social Darwinism theory people who don't know that necessarily it is, but so is pro like capitalism, pro imperialism, I guess in this case, pro neoconservatism, that's what's going on, are also pro evolution taught in schools?
I would assume none of them are pro evolution taught in schools.
Okay. And on that note, we're going to stop talking about politics and move on, to the thing we were supposed to talk about this entire show, which was, we did another study deep dive. People seem to be enjoying that, right?
Yes, I think they really enjoy that a lot.
Or got a lot out of the Houston episode, hopefully.
Yes,
right?
yes. He supplied a lot of information, and I think there was a lot of good feedback we got from that.
So in that vein, like, we want to continue doing these study deep dives every now and then. I found a really, really good one that I thought was relevant, and that's the main topic of today's episode, even though maybe not, it isn't anymore. And it's coaching. Why you need a coach. And we have the science to support maybe why you should probably get one.
Yep.
So we have the study Optimizing Resistance Training Outcomes, Comparing In-Person Supervision, Online Coaching, and Self-Guided Approaches, a randomized controlled trial by, trying to get the author, Gavanda et al. And this was published in the Journal of Strength Conditioning Research, which is a journal like that the NSCA publishes. It's great. It's kind of like where we get a lot of resources. Main thing we talked about here, this is a randomized control trial, which is like one of the top 2 ways of doing science. Yep. So this is great. I loved this study design, and I'm going to go through it. Stop me at any point if you have questions or thoughts.
So
please.
Just to like cover the main 3 things that it is comparing: coaching in person. Yep. Online remote coaching.
Yep.
No coaching where you're just guiding yourself. Those are the 3 main.
Yeah. So they're defining those groups as supervised, app, or program only. PDF is what they're calling these groups because they literally like get a PDF of a training program. The app group got a program with video instruction and then time delayed feedback. So basically remote coaching, like a coach, saying you do this better or change that through True Coach, which is a really common platform. And then the supervised one was basically small group. So it was, I think, a 1-to-4 or better ratio is what it was. So coach, yeah, exactly right. I liked the participant inclusion criteria. So all of the participants had to have done resistance training for at least a year before that. And they had to have at least said that they were familiar with the 2 strength tests. So they were super simple ones. One was barbell bench press. One was barbell back squat. And we'll talk about how they do that.
And so 2 things I know we like there is, one, we're reducing the chances of newbie gains because they've just never lifted before.
Yeah.
We have people who have been lifting some. And then I think you said you liked the movements that they chose there because of they're not just doing like a leg press, they're actually doing a squat.
Yeah. I think squat and bench are great. They're traditionally weren't used as much because of the skill component, and they had a really, really unique way of fixing that I loved.
Yes.
So those they did assess the 1RMs. The strength test for the squats, they basically had them squat. It was a box squat is what we would call it, or a bench squat, but they put it at a height at a target where they were actually getting to parallel. So the difficulty with using a squat assessment is that people have different movements all the time. They standardized the move, and they did it with whatever. It wasn't like, all right, we're all going to 18 inches.
Right.
It was, this is your individual height for when we do this test, and that's how we're going to assess it. So that was great. The bench only had the 2 standards, which it has to go to your chest, and then it has to come all the way up to lockout. So like judged like it would be kind of like in a powerlifting meet, I guess, with no pause. But so really love those strength tests. Those were 2 of the testing components. They used bioelectrical impedance. So it's kind of like an in-body scale to measure body composition. Some people might say that's not like a DEXA or as good as that, and that's true. But the thing that they did is they instructed the participants to not eat or drink 2 hours before, which makes the test way more effective. And they actually had them lay down for 10 minutes, which theoretically better distributes the water in their body before they step onto the scale. So I thought that was actually really great.
Yeah, so they knew the limiting factors of the device they were using and tried to mitigate that.
Yeah, so every step where like we might be like, oh, this test isn't very good for that.
Right. They tried to cover all the gaps that people could poke holes in this.
So I loved that design. They used a subjective well-being assessment. It's called the WHO-5. It's used outside of fitness, but it's kind of assessing people's, like anytime you see like this is the happiest country, it is likely this set of questions that are asked to that citizenry.
Switzerland.
I think it's like Denmark or Sweden like every year. I don't know. We could look that up. But so they have that questionnaire. It's like, hey, how happy are you? It wasn't like, hey, how happy are you in the gym? It was, how happy are you?
Yeah.
Like how are you feeling? That was it. And then for the people that had coaching, so that just the in-person coaching and the app guided group, they had a short supervisory relationship questionnaire, and that basically just asked them, hey, how do you feel about the coaching you're receiving? And so they couldn't ask that to the self-guided group.
Correct.
Because they're not getting any, right?
Yep.
So those are the metrics being tested here. Like I said, it's a randomized control trial, so people were randomly selected. Once they met this criteria,
right,
whether they were male or female, regardless of how old they were just randomly assigned to a group. So we had 3 concurrent testing groups, and they ended up with 79 total participants. And they actually had like a mathematical justification for the number of participants they would need for the data to be statistically meaningful that is way above my head, actually. So they started with, I want to say they were like, hey, for us to have basically 80 people-ish actually complete this with enough compliance for it to matter, we need probably 120 people.
Oh, wow.
Because people drop out. So they looked at like percentage of dropout, okay? Percentage of people that are going to do 85% of the workout. So everybody in the data from pre to post, so in these outcomes we're going to talk about, did 85% or more of the workouts they were assigned, okay? So they were given these 3 groups, came in for a familiarization week. So this was like where they assessed that squat, that they knew how to squat, they knew how to bench press. They did the, body composition tests. They took the other like subjective well-being tests. They determined like their squat depth, all that kind of stuff. So no excuses now that they don't know how to do it.
Right.
Right. They were then given a program. So it was whether it was in the coach group, the app group, or the PDF group, but it was the same program, a 3 time a week, very basic resistance training program. There was like lower body work, upper body work, something you might see in like honestly like Men's Health or whatever. Just with
I used to do those workouts.
Yeah, exactly. Nothing like so 3 days a week of that. 6 weeks of it were hypertrophy focused. And then 4 weeks of it were maximum strength focused because they knew that we're going to test 1RMs eventually. So in the beginning, it's like building muscle, then a couple weeks of like getting ready to push your strength. So after that 10-week training program, they came in and they retested. And these are the outcomes that they had.
So all 76 people did same program. 79, sorry.
Yep, it's all good.
They all did an 85% compliance.
Of these, they got included.
Nice.
So what do you think happened?
Well, I know what happened, but if you ask me, I would assume the results would be similar, but I do think people that are getting feedback are going to see better improvements because if you don't know you're doing something wrong, you're not going to try to fix it. So the people that are just doing the movements, they may be limiting their capabilities because they're doing something wrong and they're not being told they're doing something wrong.
They wouldn't even know.
And then next step, I would assume the people that are being coached in person are able to make those adjustments quicker because they're not having to wait session to session to get that feedback.
Right.
So they're able to make the adjustment set to set or even rep to rep so they can make those adjustments quicker and become better, more capable quicker would be my assumption.
Well, you're wrong. No, I'm just kidding. Here's what happened. I want to start with the one that most people care about, which is how they look. So the body composition. So the supervised in-person group had by far the most significant improvements in this is fat-free mass. So that's an increase of just your fat-free mass is kind of everything. It's like your bone tissue. Anything in your body doesn't have fat tissue in it. Okay. Which is really closely related to your muscle mass. That was the next piece.
It includes bone density?
Includes bone density, all that. It could just be the liquid and broad, but anyway. Yeah. So they had increases of fat-free mass and muscle mass, and then the least fat mass increase. So remember, this was a strength training program. There wasn't any cardio. So actually all groups had like a very moderate amount of fat increase from baseline. But the composition of the supervised group, like the vast majority of that was muscle tissue. So they might have gained like, call it like a pound or 2 of fat.
Right.
But they gained several pounds worth of like muscle mass tissue if they did that. Whereas the app group and the PDF group had basically the same amount. Yeah.
Okay.
I think the app group actually had the largest, if on like a number, the largest increase in fat mass, even more than the completely unguided group.
Yeah.
But it was like not super different. The next one is, hey, how do they feel during this time? It was like, I want to say like a 30% increase from start of test to, I think it was 39%, start of test to end of program in the supervised group.
In 10
like
weeks?
They by far felt better about their life and their quality of well-being.
So this is back to the same questions of not just how you feel in training, how you feel in life.
So it's just like, hey, how is life going for you? Significant improvement, like way, and the magnitude is way higher than it probably is the largest thing. Like if you were to compare any of these factors, like the thing that increased the most because it was so huge, like this part.
So you should do strength training basically just so you feel better.
You should do supervised strength training compared to the app group and the PDF group is what they're saying. The supervisor rating, so that's that thing that you could only have in the in-person coaching.
Correct.
Versus the app group. It was like the biggest one here. Like basically the satisfaction with the supervision being given by the app group was like very, very minimal.
Yeah.
Like just enough. It's like, okay, like this is good, but it's fine. Whereas supervision in the small group, and again, it was like 1 to 4. So yeah, of course it's going to be amazing. It's almost unfair, right? Yep. Was massive, like way, way, way different. And then our favorite stuff, what happened to the strength? So the supervised group had the most significant squat 1RM increase. All 3 groups did get stronger. So all 3 got better at squats, got better at bench press, which is great.
So doing these things, you can get better, all 3.
Yep. The supervised group meaningfully got stronger than the other 2 groups in the squat. In the bench, it was actually kind of the same.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why do you think that is?
It's a less technical movement.
That's exactly what they thought. Yeah. They basically surmised that like The squat is more technical, whereas the bench, not to say there isn't technique for benching,
Right, for sure.
but for the average person, it's very low technique. Most people already really familiar with it.
Correct.
Right? So they've probably trained it for years.
If it's like, especially in the PDF, if it's written well and you do what it says, like, okay, break the bar, okay, make sure you have 5 points of contact and brace, all that good stuff, and you actually do it, there's not much else to do.
Nope. You just got to put in the reps.
You just got to put in the reps.
And try hard. So there were two reasons they thought that the strength increased. Like, one was that technical piece, that it was flat across all groups. One of the other reasons they think that the in-person had such success is that the intensity at which people were training was probably higher. So remember this program, it was mostly sets and reps with like kind of suggestions.
Yeah.
But if you have a coach there with you in person, they can guide. One, they can improve the technical piece.
Yep.
So if you're making a mistake on squat, they can help you with that or whatever it is. The entire program wasn't just squats. So
Right.
it was technique across all these
All
exercises.
movements.
But they could also make the suggestions like, hey, you can go a little bit harder. And then what they saw is that people during testing were actually trying harder. They were capable of pushing intensity more than the other groups because they were used to trying harder.
Correct. Yeah. And that makes a ton of sense too, because I don't know how many times like I've filmed one of my sets and it felt awful. And you go back and watch it, and you're like, oh, it wasn't as bad as I thought it was. But if you're not doing that, not getting that feedback, then you may not try a heavier weight or like push yourself a little bit harder. You may be like, oh, that was good enough.
You just need an outside perspective to let you
Correct.
know that it's possible or that you're doing something technically good enough. So with all of that said about this study, all those outcomes and how well it was designed, what does that study mean for you, average gym person? What do you think, Coach?
To get a coach. If you want to see higher results, quicker results, that sounds like a cheesy pickup line, hire a coach. But like the study shows that is what's best. Have a coach that's in person, getting that feedback, putting in those technical changes, encouraging you to try harder, supporting you to try harder. You're going to see better and quicker results.
And it seems like if it's an in-person, right?
In-person.
Like even so, you hired a remote coach.
I did hire a remote coach.
to help you because you wanted to get better at a thing.
Yes.
How has that gone?
I have gotten better.
Exactly.
I run a lot faster than I used to run.
Yep. I have basically not improved at anything in the time that I haven't had a coach. So
What's that tell you?
probably should get one.
You probably should get one.
You know what I'm saying? So yeah, when in my athletic career, like all my years, I had a coach, and I went from training alone in a garage with like a training partner to when I like had my first coach, who happened to be one of the greatest coaches of all time. You know, that certainly helps. And then being a team environment, like a very supportive, high performance team culture, I improved significantly.
Yep.
And so what I want to talk about is like why maybe people should consider going to a training facility as opposed to going to the gym.
Yep.
So the people who are doing the PDF version or maybe even the app version, those are people who are going to a gym and they got this program from wherever, like some influencer they like, or they read it in a magazine, or maybe it's like they're actually listening, they're doing the RP strength app or something like that, you know, some popular, they're doing a hypertrophy program. And so if they're just following along that program or using that app, it looks like they won't be able to really try as hard or get as good of physical body composition changes as if they went to a training facility.
Correct.
Right.
And I do think there are a good amount of people who don't need that mental encouragement to try hard. I think some do have that built in. So I think that may be minimal, but I do think the feedback and the technique tips they're going to get, they're hugely missing out on because they're just always working out alone. But then like, if you go back to being competitive, when you're around other people who are doing similar things, trying really hard, that may push you to try harder as well.
So like a culture can
correct.
allow. So it's not just the coach, but a culture that it would exist in a training center that probably doesn't exist in a gym of people operating entirely independently with different goals, like completely irreconcilable goals.
Yes.
Operating by different rules.
Yeah.
Doing different programs.
Different rules, different standards, literally different everything. The coach is the one who sets like what that community is and what that culture is. So like leading from the front of like, hey, this is going to be a place that we try hard and we push each other, versus where literally 90% of the people have their headphones in and just checking off boxes.
Yeah. So whether you want to get leaner, or do you want to lose fat, get more muscle mass, or get stronger, which is like almost
doesn't want those
almost
things?
everyone.
Yeah.
Right. I guess unless you're a pure endurance athlete, because this was a resistance training test, not an endurance
That is
test. You should probably go to a training center if you want to. If you're the kind of person who needs like accountability,
Yeah.
that's really, really important, right? Like if you need somebody to tie you to it, like that's a lot of people. I think the reason we saw that the app and the PDF were similarly successful in a lot of things is that if you either needed accountability and you were that kind of person, or you were a person who just like has it and you're like, yep, this is the men's health workout, and who's the Gronk says this is the workout, right? Because like it's always like some like when I remember when I was like looking at that stuff, it was like Ray Lewis. It's like, oh man, yeah, like Ray Lewis is jacked. He knows what he's talking about.
Right.
But it's always that. It's like, yep, Gronk says this is how you get jacked.
That's what you gotta do.
And that's what I got to do. It has nothing to do with like genetics, years of training, steroids, like any of that. It's just
the program.
Just as the routine. And so there are people that have the psychological ability to buy into that.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's a great skill. Like I think they're successful in a lot of other areas because they have that like absurd level of self-confidence, and that's fine. If you're somebody who's like, hey, like I need a little bit more guidance or help, you definitely need a coach.
Yeah.
Like you're not going to have the successful outcomes they would.
This isn't to say that the program isn't important, but I think out of all of these factors, the actual program is probably the least important. Because like the program doesn't matter if you don't try hard.
Yeah.
The program doesn't matter if you're like in a crappy environment where people let you get away with not doing the full work. Like an example, last night we were at the track and we had a 2K cash out at the end, and I literally forgot about it. Like I'm taking my shoes off, and someone's like, "What about the 2K?" I'm like, "No, what are you talking about?" And like, put the shoes back on, guys. Let's go. We only did 1,200, so like we didn't do the full thing, but we actually we thought we were done. Let's go finish this piece of the workout.
Yeah, people
like,
walked away.
Yeah, having all 12 of us, like none of us wanted to do it. We were exhausted. We just did like 8 400-meter repeats. The last thing we wanted to do was run 5 more laps around that track.
Yeah,
but we did it because we knew that's the right thing to do. We were all holding each other accountable.
Yeah, that's a huge piece, and being in there, like the try hard really is, I think, so huge in that part. Like you're just not trying hard enough if you're not thrust in that environment. Like even if you are the person who's like, I can do this, I'm going to be consistent and accountable. There's just you're leaving yourself exposed to like technical issues.
Yeah.
If it is a highly technical thing, if you're just trying to like get ripped, it's probably not. But you're actually probably not trying as hard as you're capable of.
Yeah.
You're actually the kind of person who, with that level of confidence, would thrive in a competitive environment.
For sure.
And would see somebody who's like, I'm going to do better than that person.
Yeah.
And so that's an argument for why you shouldn't be training that
Correct.
way.
Yeah,
right?
we were back to the track last night. Those 400s, we all had like set paces. I'm pretty sure everyone was ahead of those paces because they were just trying to keep up with the person in front of them. Like we'd finish a run, like, oh, that was 13 seconds faster than it needed to be. Like we'll try to back it up. Oh, that was 12 seconds faster. Like we were hitting our paces because we were all just pushing each other.
Nice. So the last piece I want to talk about this because it's relevant. Like we're not dunking on program only. We're not dunking on app-based programming, which are like the inferior parts in this study, anything, because we offer those things.
Yep.
And I also think science is kind of like 10 years behind practice in some regards. So a lot of times we're documenting things that have already been a certain way, and perhaps there are better ways to mitigate these downsides than before. Like we offer our programs, like basically stand alone with no support, more or less. Then we have remote coaching products that have support, direction, definitely have video guidelines, and then critically that feedback part.
Yep.
So we do it because we think it's important, and we think, I guess I've been remote coaching people for 12 years.
Well,
and so how we do that is from like 12 years of learning and try to improve it, and we're constantly trying to make that better. So I think that that's good. But I want to talk about athletes who do a sexy remote program instead when there's an existing boring in-person program that's available to them. And this happens a lot in weightlifting.
It happens a lot in everything.
Do you think it does? Like, does it happen in like High Rocks? It definitely happens in CrossFit, right? Everybody needs to do Mayhem or what's the Ben Bergeron one?
Comp Train.
Everybody needs to do Comp Train or Mayhem because those are the sexy, high volume workouts, right?
Yep. And you're seeing it with High Rocks too now. Like Hunter McIntyre has his plan. Dylan Scott has his plan. Like they're all they just write a plan once and they sell it. And most people are doing the same. They do some one-on-one coaching where they're like writing the program for that person. But there is definitely a high volume of people who just want to be on that person's program because that person is the best. Just because they're the best doesn't mean they're the best coach or the best or writing the best program, but you're also missing out on an opportunity to be in-person coach. With the study shows you're going to see better results with.
Yeah, I think the more technical something gets, or the higher level the athlete gets, the higher level your goals are, probably the more individual it needs to be.
Agreed.
So maybe, somebody in your area doesn't exist. Maybe a elite shot put coach in your area does not exist.
Right.
And you need an elite shot put coach, something like that. But odds are there's somebody in your area who's pretty capable.
Yeah.
Odds are hopefully there's a group of people that are training really, really hard, like I think we have here, that want to do something. I think it's a huge mistake for people to prioritize the sexy program
Agreed.
over the boring work of I'm going in with these people who share my goals and values.
Right.
By the way, they are trying to accomplish the same thing, and just training really hard with instantaneous feedback.
Yeah.
I think it's a huge mistake.
Agreed.
It happens all the time in weightlifting. Like we have any variety of programs that are out there that people are like, okay, well, like this is the program of X high level athlete. Same thing. This will allow me to be the best. And it's like, actually, one, you're not X high level athlete.
Right.
Two, that's not how X high level athlete got there.
Yep.
And three, you're missing out on the other things that X high level athlete has, which are like like I can think of one like high level weightlifting athlete that's truly remote.
Yeah.
Basically. And it's like, no, they're generally training in person with people. So you're putting the cart before the horse.
Yeah, like we love our remote athletes too. Like we're not
Yeah.
saying like just go get an in-person coach, but like we wish we could see them in person
Yep.
more for these exact reasons.
If you're really if there's nobody in your area,
Yeah.
If it's maybe not convenient in your life, like it's like, oh man, it's going to take me 2 hours every day to get back and forth from the gym, and like I just got to go to this Crunch Fitness and
Yeah.
do the best I can. That would be better because that would make your consistently getting your training in.
And that's why
Right.
all of our remote options include you get X amount of visits to our facility because
we're
we
big.
want you to come here and
Yeah,
do it.
we're big on people coming in for
Yeah.
that. Absolutely. So just food for thought to anybody out there who's thinks that the secret sauce is the program. It looks like the program, all of these people did the same program.
Yeah.
And it looks like it was the least important variable. That's all I'm saying.
My opinion is to agree with that.
If you're doing a sport though, if you have like really, really specific high level individualized goals, and if those goals are like really, really technically challenging, yeah, you probably need, that's the only time I think that doing remote would be more important than the program only, because we looked at the results.
Yeah.
In strength, it was the same.
Yeah.
It was not meaningfully different at all. But if it's a technical sport, like, none of those movements were super high technical.
Correct.
So of course the results are the same. You're going to need some extra help with that.
But if you're doing shot put, you're going to need some feedback.
You need some help. So what did we learn?
What did we learn? I think step one, get a coach if you want to be good. Step two, make sure that coach, or do your best to have that coach as close as possible so you're getting that feedback as quick as possible.
Yeah.
And be in a fun, encouraging, positive, challenging training environment.
Step 3, get a coach.
Step 3, revisit step 1.
Okay. You want to wrap it?
Yeah, let's wrap it.
Everything? All right. We'll link that study in the show notes for that if anybody wants to actually read it themselves. Hopefully that was fun.
Yep. I enjoyed it.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's all that really matters, right?
We do this for us. We don't do it for anybody else.
Thank you guys for listening. I hope we enjoyed the discussion on the PFT, and maybe we can think of like a funner PFT. Maybe that's our next.
I think we should just do it. We should just program it one day. Everyone has to do it.
Okay. Yeah. Because like I think it's a very reasonable kind of test.
We can get it done in 30 minutes.
And then, if you're not already going to Charlotte Strength and getting coached at a training center, maybe think about doing that. Or if not here, go find a training center near you.